I believe in having your own visual aesthetic. So if I love something, it doesn't really matter what it is. If I love it and put it in that space, it will work somehow at some point along the way.
Hi, I'm George. I'm the co-founder of Bluethumb, and I'm joined by my colleague Amy. Welcome to the Art in My Home podcast.
We uncover the surprising stories from the art collections of unexpected guests.
Today's guest is Rachel Castle, the artist and designer behind the beloved homewares and fashion label Castle. She's known for her joyful use of colour and playful motifs. Rachel has been brightening Australian interiors for more than a decade, and we're excited to have her on the podcast. Welcome.
Thank you. Beloved, that's such a beautiful word, isn't it? Beloved. It's a
I think
very
so.
nice thing for you to say, George. Thank you.
Yeah, you look at the kind of feedback on blogs and socials, and it seems appropriate. So let's jump in. We'd like to start with kind of your home, actually. I know you are an artist and designer, but I've seen some write-ups of your home on a couple of different kind of home blogs and design blogs, and described as like fun, vibrant, and there's a lot of personal touches. So could you sort of talk about some of your favourite pieces, whether they're art, objects that you have in your home?
I think it takes a little while for your home's personality to present itself, personally. So we renovated our house a long time ago now, and I took everything out of its boxes and put everything up on the walls, all the books in the bookshelves, all the vases everywhere, and it was just so disappointing. So after a year of all these plans for this amazing renovation and everything goes in, and I was like, is this it? This needs a lot of work. So my point being, I find the kind of home that I like to live in and kinds of homes that I respond to when I walk into them are the ones with all those tiny little things. Books, plants, little artworks, kids' artworks, cards your friends have given you. It could be anything. It's a generosity, I think, of showing people how you live. So I'm not a lover of sticking things in the cupboard just because I'm lazy. If I'm going to buy something, I want to look at it. So there's lots of things that are my favourite things in my home. I would probably have to say above everything else, it would be my books. I'm a big reader, and I just feel I love the comfort of the books. The big picture books or the novels or whatever it might be. I know that's a boring answer, but it's actually the truth. I look at the books and I think of all the worlds out there that are contained within those pages, and I just like to have them there. They're very comforting to me. So I would say the books, the artworks. It's hard to say, really. A multitude of different things.
Where are your books? Like I can see on one design blog, there are some books, I think in a living space, like a nice big bookshelf along the back of it. Is that where they mostly are, or where are they throughout the house?
So we've got some bookshelves sort of in the hallway when you walk in, and then there's a very big bookshelf in the dining room, in the kitchen, dining, living room. But then they're just everywhere on all the surfaces because I like to have them out so that if I don't have them out, I don't look at them, and then they're just for show, and I'm not that keen on that. So they're sort of all over, really. I am upset that my children don't read, so I'm always putting the books out. Very sure that at some stage they'll pick something up, but they don't seem to.
How many years?
I'm hoping I can still hope.
And do you, obviously with your art and your business, do you refer to a lot of the books for inspiration?
Yes, I do. We've got a lot of books in the office, and I'm always looking for inspiration. I find a lot of it in the books and publications that we have.
Rachel, you also sent through a few artworks for us to discuss today. I really want to talk to you about this really pretty Stacey Rees, I think it is a painting that you have?
It's a painting, yes. It's a portrait.
Yeah, I love it. I love the colours, kind of geometric shapes of it as well.
I bought that for myself for Christmas a few years ago. I can't remember where it was from, but I saw it and loved it. They're not really my colours, but who cares? It's just a gorgeous little painting. I'm really keen on it. I really love it.
I love it too. As an artist yourself, I know you have your own works in your house. Will you make an artwork to kind of, you've got a space and you're like, oh, there's something I would like want to put there, but I don't know what. Do you ever kind of go like, I'm going to go create my own piece and put it in a space in your house?
Well, I've tried that, Amy, and it didn't work. Photo of the bedroom, that's the pace I want it. This is what I want to do. I'm going to make it. Girls, don't talk to me this week because I've got this. And I made it. It came out beautifully, and I put it in the space, and I thought that just looks wrong immediately. So I tried it once, and it definitely didn't work. So
Fair enough.
I will never, if an artwork goes up on the wall, so rare for me to take it down. So I've got lots of different things on the wall, but the only ones I take down are my own. I go, I can't look at that again. I'll take that back to work. But anything that I've bought by other artists, they will stay on the wall forever.
Yeah. Do you get sick of looking at your own art, or are you just like, it's just not right? Or
Absolutely. I feel like I'm at work doing my emails, and then I go up close and have a good look and think, did you do that in the dark? Yes. Sometimes I don't have anything of my own in there, or, we'll have to take something home to shoot it there and we'll leave it there. So the only things that move around are my own things, but everything else stays exactly where it is.
Yeah.
I believe in having your own visual aesthetic. So if I love something, it doesn't really matter what it is. If I love it and put it in that space, it will work somehow at some point along the way. And of course, our tastes do change. But the artwork, no. The artwork always stays on the walls, and I don't ever move that around. That's why I want to move.
It would just be easier.
It actually would, wouldn't it? See? That's what I thought.
Yeah, I'm similar, Rachel. I don't tend to move the art much in my house. We did have a guest who loved rearranging art in her house like almost weekly, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, really kept things fresh.
Yeah, a lot of
That's
work.
impressive. She must have does she rehang it herself? Does she?
She said on some of the biggest stuff she would have a hanger come in, it was heavy, but otherwise I think she's an interior designer and handy. And
just things around. Her kids would come home all the time and be like, hang on.
I miss this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm too lazy. I'm definitely too lazy.
Cool. And you sent through an interesting photo by a photographer, Polly Borland. It looks like a kind of rabbit suit person. Tell us about that.
So she's this amazing artist. I should have done some background research. I don't want to speak out of turn here, but I do love her work and have loved it for a very long time. And I just wanted that bunny. So I went on a PR campaign for a Christmas present, and it eventuated. I think she does some incredible work. Look her up. She's unreal.
Yeah, no, I looked her up. I didn't realize she's actually really prolific in Australia. Like, she's quite a big deal. She did a collaborative project with the National Portrait Gallery in Canberra and in London. So yeah, she's quite significant in Australia.
She's a really interesting woman. She does a lot of different work, and I've just always loved everything she's done. And that bunny, I'm not sure where we got that from, a gallery somewhere. But I really love that piece a lot. And just to have something of hers as well.
For sure.
And I don't have a lot of photography, but I do really love it as a medium. So that was a really perfect piece.
I want to know about your PR campaign to get it. Was that?
It was pretty intensive. It just started with a lot of emailing, a lot of cold calling, but I got it over the line.
Good. Love that.
And when you're hunting for art, Rachel, do you normally find it on socials, or do you look at a lot of galleries and things like that for any art, or just,
I am so forbidden to buy anything else. There is so little wall space that it's always me trying really hard not to buy something. Because when you fall in love, it's like, I want that book. I love that book. I love that painting. Is it enough to just stand here and look at it in the gallery or have it in a book? That overwhelming need to look at that painting for real every day in your house, it's a hard one to say no to. So I'm never, ever looking, ever. I'm not looking. But if I do come across something that I really love, I do struggle. Well, there's nowhere to put it, quite frankly.
Rachel, I was about to ask you, like, who else is on your radar to collect and where do you find new art? But it sounds like there's nothing and none because you're banned.
I really try not to look. I try not to look.
That's hilarious.
We want to move house, so I feel like I'm seriously on a ban until we move and know what that house is going to be like. You know,
and you're moving house because you've run out of wall space.
Yeah, lots of different things. The children have left home and going to downsize. So I guess that will present a whole new. I have thought, what am I going to do? Which ones am I going to take? You know, there will need to be a culling at some point. But I'm looking for Australian artists. I don't know why. I tried to buy this big Ken Doan painting a little while ago and I looked for it everywhere. I'd seen it somewhere and I didn't buy it, but I just could not get it out of my head. It was the Sydney Harbour Bridge and it was an electric blue colour with just a very beautiful, just very simple harbour bridge. If anyone's got it out there and wants to sell it, I'm going to buy it. I'll buy it because it was just, I couldn't stop thinking about it. Anyway, I tried very hard to find that and I couldn't, but yeah, I love all the Australian artists.
Another one that got away.
That's never going to happen again.
We hosted an exhibition of Ken's, I don't know, maybe 2023, and had a bunch of his like really big paintings in the gallery. It's fantastic in the flesh to see.
Yeah, they're unreal. Yeah, that's one that I need to get at some point.
He's very iconic. Like, if you think, I thought about this with my colleagues, we're like, if Brett Whiteley was alive, they'd be the same age. He's just such like a national treasure almost of Australian art. So yeah, it'd definitely be goals to have one.
I couldn't agree more. And I love that it just seems like a lovely bloke, really.
He loves a red wine. Loves a red wine.
Yeah, good on him. He's still alive.
He was great. He gave a talk when we opened that and he really held court. He talked for probably an hour and just told these great stories from the late 60s on about all these things that he'd done or, seen in the arts. It was fantastic. It was very nice as well. It was great.
I read that he never said no to any jobs that he was offered, design jobs. I find that interesting that he was that kind of person.
He's a savvy marketer, I think. Like he worked a lot of advertising and marketing jobs and like it's kind of how he's like grown so big himself. He just, smart businessman really.
Yeah, and I feel like a very generous artist, if you like. Happy to work on magazines or his own painting. Comes across to me as just a very generous artist in the body of work that he's done. And
and I like his unpretentious. Like he was absolutely down to earth in person. It was very nice.
Yeah.
But I reckon I've seen at least a painting like the one you're describing of his. It's like a super marine blue with the bridge. He's probably done many, but iconic would be great. That plus a Whiteley version of the Harbour too would be perfect side by side.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. Stop it. You
Not until you have a new house.
Okay. While we're talking about sort of art you haven't bought yet, are there places that you do like looking for artists or artworks, or it's just as you come across them in your day-to-day life, or is there anywhere you find you've discovered them?
I like Modern Times do some nice things. I like Lucy Design Files does some really good exhibitions, certainly more affordable art, definitely. I think I actually got that Stacey Reese from Modern Times. They're all over online. Like I say, I try not to look. I like a little bit of everything. So I like a painting and a photograph and a great print. So I don't know if Bianca sent the photo of the big Villamop print.
Yes.
The big man.
Yes.
So he is massive as you walk in our front door.
Really?
And I thought myself at the time, I fell so in love with that. The minute I saw it, like, oh my God, that is just, I don't know why, that was my man. And he was coming home to my house But I thought to myself, it's very brown. There's a lot of butterscotch and our floors are very brown and butterscotchy. I did that, should I, shouldn't I? And then I just backed myself and said, I really love that. It's coming home, and it is, I would say, definitely the rock star of the house, that print. Yeah, I really love that. He's never, ever, ever been culled, ever.
He's very handsome.
Yeah, cool. Villamot did the designs for like Orangina back in the day, the French soft drink, which is my favourite drink very much. I desperately want I really want an Orangina poster by Villamot, but I know it would give me diabetes because I would drink it every day. Like I'd look at it and I wouldn't be able to stop myself. So
well, yeah, right.
I've got no self-control. So
That's
you got an orange thing.
That's so
just
random.
Orangina, it's just an amazing drink. I'm obsessed with it.
Do they still sell it in that little bottle?
Yeah, in a little orange bottle. Yeah.
Yeah, cute. Really cute.
Yeah.
Well, I know he's got some. He travels to Paris and all around France a few times a year and has all his collectors over there. He's got a lot of really good original stuff.
Fantastic.
Yes. I actually have a couple more of his posters that I haven't had framed because I've got nowhere to put them. But I like a little playfulness at home, and I feel like the posters always do that. I've got a Picasso one which I really love. And you know what? When we go to see an exhibition, I always do love buying a little poster and a book.
Oh, me too. Yeah.
It's just, you've got to do it. There's a lot of those kind of artworks at home too.
I love those too. The other one, can we talk about, Rachel? You've got a work by Cameron Fraser, Walkman. Walkman is called?
Walkman, yeah.
Yeah, this yellow one. I was looking up Cameron's works. He does a lot of botanical works. So this one was like interesting that it wasn't botanical kind of influenced. I just think it's really interesting.
Is that a painting?
It's a print. He does it through the big rolling press. There's a special name for it. Anyway, I can't think of it. But he's a very old friend of mine, and we grew up in the same little country town, and we're still good friends now. He had a studio in Barcelona, I think that one was made. And when I got married, my mother and father-in-law bought that for us as our wedding present. So it's very special to us, that piece. His floral stuff is really beautiful, and I've got a few other pieces of his floral pieces, but that one is so big and has been in every house we've ever lived in and will always be. So I feel like, for me personally, it becomes more than just a piece of art. That represents our family, really. So it's a very meaningful piece of art that we have.
Yeah, I love the colour. I just love the yellow. Yellow is such a happy colour to have in a house too. Like
that's right. It's not easy. It's not an easy colour to work with in the home. I used to have a red sofa in front of it, like a dark red, cherry red sofa. And I was like, you either lose the painting or the sofa. So I lost the sofa.
It would have been a real punch. Woo.
Right. Yeah. It's a really...
to go on. Red and yellow, right in the face.
Red and yellow is just, there's colour combos that you can't have. Red and yellow is McDonald's.
Yes, it is. Yes.
Brown and green is a tree.
Yeah.
No, that was never going to work.
They don't work. We might move on to a bit about yourself and your brand, Rachel. So you launched Castle 15 years ago, and it's grown into a brand recognised for its lively bed linen, sweaters, and original artworks. What inspired you to start, and how do you stay motivated all these years later?
So I had a career in branding with my friends in the UK, and I had my children over there and decided to move back to Australia, and I wasn't working. I was just really not bored, but I needed to do something. So I started just making embroideries. I did a little course at TAFE, a printmaking course. And this was back in the day when the online retailers had just started to, those little boutique ones had just started to present themselves. So it had a little website built and just started putting my artworks on there, and it just grew from there. It became a third child, definitely. It grew very organically. There certainly was no long-term vision, nothing at all like that. It was just really something to keep me occupied and busy while I was at home looking after the kids. Because there's 6 or 7 hours a day when they're at school, and I just needed something to do. And then I would say, I'd love to make a sweater. Surely it can't be that hard to make a sweater. Well, actually, it's super hard to make a sweater. You've got to make like 40,000 of them. But it just grew from there, really. Without the internet, there's no way I'd have this business. Your shop is open 24/7 to anyone in the world. You can have 3 things in your shop or 333 things, and it doesn't really matter. So I feel very grateful that I was ready to go when the technology presented itself. And I think staying inspired is just about momentum, I think, personally for me. I just like to keep going, and now I've got my team of girls and they need to be kept busy. So what are we going to do, girls? There's no big plan. Because we're so small, we can do a little or a lot. And I think the beauty of having it small is that from any one week to another, we can make anything we feel like, really. We can paint the walls, or we can make a huge mural, or we can do screen printing or sewing. I like it to be very nimble. Otherwise, it feels like a spreadsheet to me.
How do you balance the business and admin with the creative side of actually creating the art designs, everything?
I used to find that very frustrating. I used to get really frustrated about not having enough creative time, but I have given into that. You have to. If you want to run a business, it's running 2 businesses. It's running your creative business and then your retail business. If you want to do both, they have to happen, well, for me anyway, they have to happen at the same time. I'll do something for half an hour here, something for half an hour there. I never really get more than an hour on any one thing, which is why I love working on the weekends, because I come to the studio and there's no one here, and I don't have to talk about bed linen, sweaters, caps, cushions. I can just do my artworks, and I find that's a really nice time to work. And now I don't have kids at home. It makes it a lot easier. Life was incredibly frenetic for a long period there.
And now you just have more time to be creative.
On the weekends, yeah.
Yeah. We've heard all about you making lovely things for lovely people. How important is a personal connection to customers in guiding what you want to create next?
That's a good question. As far as the paintings are concerned, I can really only do my own style. So we don't really talk about what people want there, but certainly with the rest of the business, every time we go off script and listen to the trends or what we think the customers want, we get it wrong. So I say to the girls, people come to us because they want to buy from us the things that we like. For example, we're just about to start spring, summer. So that process, we talk about where are there some gaps in the range? Do we need to floral stripes, spots, the colours that we're liking? We just really go with what we like. That's gorgeous. Oh my God, that's gorgeous. Let's have that. Oh my God, I love that. We call all the girls around, get really excited. We're totally having that. But when we get stuck, we always come back into the studio. I say to the girls, it's always in here somewhere. It could be some felt colours or some old artworks or some sketch pads, or the minute we go looking outwards, we get all confused and off track. All of our design problems are solved the minute we come back in here. And we don't really deviate a lot from that these days, because that's what designs well, makes well, sells well, shoots well. You know, it's that old thing, just be yourself. So the more we are ourselves, the easier and more successful it is.
Yeah, just being authentic.
That's really interesting, yeah. I read that book by Rick Rubin. He's kind of had the same, very much paraphrasing, but the same thing. He's like, you know, the best art is the art you create for yourself. And it sort of sounds like, yeah, the stuff you're creating is the stuff you guys really love. And then that's the stuff that resonates with your customers.
Got to say though, George, occasionally I'll say to the girls, right, I know no one's going to like this, but I'm doing it. And then no one buys it.
No.
So it doesn't always work. Well, if there was a rule book, it'd all be very easy. There just isn't one.
Yeah.
What Rick says, most of the time that's true.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to read that.
So Bluethumb, we build new features. Right? We build features for our artists and for our collectors as well, right? And we've been doing this for 13 years, and I sort of often we have a bunch of data that can help inform stuff, but generally, like personally, I operate on gut a fair bit, and would I want this for me if I'm selling art? That's often the kind of the steering philosophy. And I reckon I had a look back at some of the big stuff we've built, and I think we probably have a 1 in 3 hit rate that we've built it and it really changes the course and does a big thing and actually works really well. And I reckon, we're probably batting at about 1 in 3, 33% success on this stuff that we try. And it turns out that's actually not too bad. Even when you're really confident and you think you get it right a lot, we don't get it that right.
Right. And that's a learning experience. But I kind of go, if it doesn't appeal to me personally, well, what else have I got? That's really all I've got to offer. Is my own personal response to something, because there's not a lot I don't actually like, to be honest.
Castle's been, around for 15 years. It's a kind of a thriving design business. Do you have any advice for people who are just getting started, I guess, who sort of want to go down that path and do something creative for themselves, a creative type business? Yeah, do you have any, I guess, starting out advice? What you've seen that worked or that didn't for you guys?
Well, I think first off, you guys would know this, you've got to be prepared to just work your balls off. This business has been like another child. Although it grew organically, it was always top of mind for me. And the growth wasn't top of mind, but the work was. I was always wanting to do my next embroidery, or I can't wait to get 5 minutes to do my next print, or when am I going to get a chance to do that next painting? And, I can't wait to, whatever it is. So I think you really need that love that's going to create that momentum for you to just keep working. That's the only thing that really I think has made me successful, is just to keep going, to work a lot, to take the hits, pick myself up and keep going, and just have that. I think why a creative business, I would always encourage somebody to follow that path if that's what they want, is that we're driven creatively. So I never get out of bed and go, I can't wait to get to work because I've got lots of things to make. And so that keeping that energy for my work is super easy. And I think that's half the challenge with your own business, is keeping up that level of enthusiasm and, love for what you're doing. And I think creatives kind of have that to start with. So you're halfway there. But then you just need to be resilient and understand, like life itself, things are going to work, some things are going to fail. Pick yourself up, move forwards and keep working. It's just a lot of hard work. And, things change, tastes change. In my day it was magazines. Now it's very different. The magazines play a very different role. A lot can change. Technology has changed. I think you have to be nimble. And personally, I like working with young people because they have good energy and they really know how to fix the computer when it breaks and and work out how the microphones work. And but I didn't think this business would last this long. I really didn't even think about it, to be honest. So when somebody says you've been around for 15 years, I think it cannot be that long, but actually it is. So I guess maybe in retrospect, there's a piece of advice. Don't try and pigeonhole yourself. I've never written a business plan ever. I never spent more than I had. I never took out a loan. I don't know if that's advice that is helpful. So I would only buy stock that I could afford, that I had cash for. And I just grew it very slowly and organically. After COVID, we were tempted to put on staff because we were so busy. The girls were so busy. I don't know why we didn't get around to it, but there was something telling me that it was going to slow down, and it did. So I'm glad we didn't. For me, the employees, the girls I work with, I don't like calling them employees, the girls are incredible. They make the wheels turn in a way that, you could never. If you hire well, you'll do well. You'll be happier. So I would say the people you work with are hugely important.
Yeah.
Much more than that, it's kind of timing, a bit of magic and a bit of luck, really. A lot of luck. You guys would know that.
Yeah. And I think if you stick around long enough, luck can find you as well, right?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. And don't be scared to change it up. If something's not working, just change it. No one cares. I always say to the girls, no one cares. No one's watching. It doesn't matter. I don't want to do that anymore. So let's do something else. I feel like with our businesses, I just don't want to hang on to anything that doesn't sort of work for us anymore. And so I would always go into a creative business, just be doing your creative thing and just see where see where it falls, and to not have too many rules, put too many rules or expectations on what you're going to do and how you're going to do it. I think just do your work and see what comes of it.
Nice. And I guess, on that thread of sort of changing it up or doing new things, do you have any cool stuff in the works for 2025, or you're just taking it as it comes?
Not really. Just sort of trying to get... No, not really. Bianca's pregnant, so everyone's just scrambling around trying to work out how we're ever going to get through a year without her. But design-wise, no. Just to be honest, myself, I really need to spend some time painting, just feeling like it's the year of the snake. You've got to shed some layers or to finding something new to get me excited. It's got to happen. I'm going to really concentrate on doing a lot more of my artworks if I can. Everything flows from there. Everything flows from the artworks.
Well, that's exciting in itself, spending a bit more time creating, I think.
No pressure. What am I going to make? I don't know.
I love that. I love the, not much of a plan. Let's create. I think that's a nice way to approach it. Amazing. Thank you, Rachel, so much for coming on and chatting. I look forward to seeing what you do create in the Year of the Snake.
Yes. Thanks, Rachel.
Oh, thank you, Amy. Thank you, George. Thanks so much.
If you love art and hearing collectors' stories, please share this episode with a friend. And don't forget to follow the show, rate and review to help make the pod more visible. We acknowledge the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people as the traditional owners of the land we're recording on, and we pay respects to elders past, present and emerging.